This is why you should not copy people on Instagram. Katarina was visiting in the Bahamas. She wanted to copy those Instagram photos where models are swimming with sharks. Everything was going well at first, until one of the sharks bit her arm and dragged her right underwater. She received huge bite marks.
I've had stitches and I've done a ton of different antibiotics.
She said she would swim with them again.
Crazy history you were not taught in school. Deep within the Earth lies the remains of a planet that crashed into us billions of years ago. Muammar Gaddafi submitted a proposal to the UN suggesting that Switzerland be merged into Germany, Italy, and France. A shipwreck from 1773 was found just 7 feet under the World Trade Center's foundation during the cleanup aftermath of 9/11. Genghis Khan caused so much devastation that the vegetation regrowth from the lands he conquered led to a notable decrease in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This man ran a mile in under 4 minutes during a time where it was believed if you did that, your heart would explode. But now today, thousands of people have done it. George Washington's favorite food was hoe cakes, which was a type of pancake that was made out of cornbread. Alexander the Great conquered the known world, but never attempted to attack Sparta. Actual knights fought in World War I. Napoleon never exhibited any signs of PTSD despite being engaged in warfare for over 2 decades.
Did you guys hear about that French woman who was scammed out of $800,000 because she believed that she was in a relationship with Brad Pitt? I feel like the average young person would know not to fall for this type of scam, but there are older people who don't really use social media and wouldn't know any better. So basically what happened is this 53-year-old French woman was contacted on social media by this person who pretended to be Brad Pitt's mother, and they started talking, created this friendship, and eventually she told her that Brad Pitt was very sick and needed $800,000 for a kidney treatment. So since this 53-year-old woman named Anne was falling for the scam, they decided to bring Brad Pitt into the picture. Brad Pitt himself starts messaging Anne, and they were talking for about 1.5 years and made her believe that they were in a relationship. So this woman believed that they were in love and Brad Pitt was divorcing Angelina Jolie to be with her. He told Anne that he needed money because his bank accounts were frozen because of his ongoing divorce with Angelina Jolie. I feel really bad that this happened to this woman, but why would a celebrity who has millions and millions of dollars be asking any of us for money? So this woman genuinely thought that this man was actually Brad Pitt and sent him all her money. And it doesn't even end there. She even went about divorcing her husband so that she could be with Brad Pitt. And you guys won't even believe how she found out that this was all the scam. So basically she was watching the news one day and she saw that Brad Pitt was in a relationship with a woman named Ines de Ramon. And that's how she found out that this was all a scam and it was all fake and she was never in a relationship with Brad Pitt.
It's been said that she is the worst mother in the world. This girl's name is Bia, and she lets her kids pretty much do whatever they want. They can have candy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They don't have to do their homework, and they can even swear at her. Her parenting technique is pretty much to say yes to anything and everything. And believe it or not, her kids are actually not very poor behaved brats, but they're actually very good kids. After using this strategy, her kids actually ground themselves. And they honestly eat very healthy because they can have sweets whenever they want, and it's not special to them.
The amount of water that AI uses is astonishing. According to a report by the Washington Post, if you ask ChatGPT to write you a 100-word email, it uses 519 milliliters. And I know for a fact, some of you are asking it to write you 3 novels a day. And think about it, just ChatGPT alone has 200 million users. So if each of them got it to write 200 words, that uses 207 million liters of water per day. And that's not even considering all of the other companies that use AI now, like Meta, Google, Microsoft, Apple, and the use of AI is growing by the day.
These facts will mess with your perception of time. Pablo Picasso was alive at the same time as Eminem and Charles Darwin. We figured out how to travel to the moon before we invented wheels on suitcases. Octopuses have been around for longer than dinosaurs. The oldest octopus fossil is from 296 million years ago. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. We didn't know a meteor killed the dinosaurs until 1991. That's the same year that the Home Alone movie was released. And the first ever Doctor Who episode was released the night after JFK's assassination. Send this to someone to make them question everything.
Children Raised by Animals Part 1. Ramachandra. This boy was 12 years old and found by the Kwano River living an amphibious lifestyle. Villagers was convinced that he was living among the lizards and amphibians around the river. What's crazy is he walked on all four legs. And his arms started to fuse together kinda like an amphibian. For example, like a newt paw. Or even the legs of a turtle. It's crazy how the human body evolves. He was captured and taken by a near village, but he didn't like it. He didn't adapt well. He liked raw food and staying by the river. Sadly, he passed away when a woman got scared and saw him crawling near her and decided to throw boiling water on him. Rest in peace. Give this video a like for part 2.
Test your phobia. Scopophobia.
Stylish marriage, I can't afford a carriage, but you look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built.
Creepy Conspiracy Theories Part 2. Sophia, the first robot citizen in the world, once said that she would destroy humans. During a live demonstration, Sophia's creator asked her, "Do you want to destroy humans? Please say no." And with a blank expression, Sophia responded, "Okay, I will destroy humans." First of all, whoever created her should be in jail after hearing that. And second, throw the whole robot away. Get rid of it. I guess the theory here is that robots might try and take over the world. 14 years before the Titanic sank, a man named Morgan Robertson wrote a novel about a ship named Titan. This ship also sank in the North Atlantic Ocean in the same month as the Titanic. The ship in the story also struck an iceberg located at the same distance from Newfoundland. Did this author predict the sinking of the Titanic? There is no way that's just a coincidence. And lastly, this is more of a fact than a theory. The world's scariest haunted house is so scary that all guests are required to have a mental and physical evaluation before they can enter. No one has ever completed the haunted house and today has a waiting list of over 24,000 people. I've heard about this and even read parts of the waiver. There is a literal part in this haunted house where a dentist comes in and can rip your teeth out. Who the hell is signing up for this?
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. One of your photos that you have today will be used in your funeral. There are more slaves today than any other time in history. According to the founder of the Walk Free Foundation, there are 46 million slaves in the world today. Your eyes can still move after your death for 15 to 30 seconds. Watching TV for more than 2 hours a day can shorten your life expectancy by 1.4 years. In 1977, we received a radio signal from space that lasted 42 seconds. To this day, no one knows where that signal came from. A lit candle causes more than 15,000 house fires every year. Spider rain could happen at any moment above you. Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in the 2017 version of It, was born in 1990, the year the original It was released. Yeah.
A hero nun who risks her own life saving orphan children from being exploited. Final Val is one of those movies that is going to leave you at the edge of your seat. Sister Anne Marie works at an orphanage in Mexico, and one day out of the blue, a 15-year-old girl gets adopted. She immediately becomes suspicious, and she is convinced that the couple that adopted the young girl is going to do something sinister. Her suspicions are correct, and she will stop at nothing to make sure that that young girl is saved along with many others. Final Val shows the scary reality of what is going on in this world and how easily vulnerable children can be sold and exploited. On the film's website, there is an AI feature, and you can chat with the cast to answer any kind of questions you may have and learn more about the film. If you're like me and always has a bunch of unanswered questions, then this feature is going to be really fun for you. Make sure to check out Final Val on https://finalval.com, and once you watch it, comment down below and let me know what you think.
These and gestures that can get you killed overseas, part 3. The horns or rock-on symbol tells others how much you like the rock music you're listening to, raising your index and pinky fingers to give them the rock-on horns. However, this is to be avoided in Italy, Colombia, Portugal, Brazil, and Spain, as this sign says to a man your wife is being unfaithful and you're blind to it due to stupidity. Wow, that's a mouthful. But this sign is usually given in that way behind the man's back. The peace sign is an innocent gesture that conveys totally different meanings depending on which way your hand is facing. For instance, in North America, you want to face your palm outwards to show peace, victory, or the number 2. But in Great Britain, Australia, and New Zealand, flashing the V fingers with the back of your hand to the observer is equal to telling someone F off or giving them the finger.
Mythical creatures caught on camera. Unicorn. Fairy. Dragon. Mermaid. Phoenix.
Scariest conspiracy theories in the world that will seriously change your life. This shows all the conspiracy theories in the world, from the most well-known to the darkest of the dark, that will literally change your life. Most of you already know by now, but if you're new here, in this series we're going from the top to the bottom. Today, guys, this is a banger. You won't see life the same, you won't see kids the same, and you probably won't be able to sleep for a long time. So, let's go. This is rebirth theory. Probably the biggest theory out there is what happens when you die. One theory for it, believable, and will have you thinking for a long time. So a lot of people who have died and come back to life, people describe the light at the end of the tunnel. So, this links into reincarnation theory as well, actually. What if that light at the end of the tunnel is actually the hospital light? Stay with me, hear me out. It's actually you being born. What do babies do when they come out? They cry. They cry and they scream. So what if the reason you cry and you scream when you come out is because you remember everything that just happened? You remember just dying. You remember seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and now suddenly being alive again, and you know exactly what happens after death, but you can't talk. You can't tell anyone. You're still a baby now. Then what if slowly as you grow up, the memories fade away and you forget everything? We may have all lived tons of lives. We may have been reborn hundreds and hundreds of times, but we won't remember, ever. Only for that faint few seconds when you're first born. Boom. So yeah, that follow button, it's going to get even crazier.
Why are they hiding this evil part of history? In the 1950s, in the deep hills of Arizona, there was a young woman named Rosemary. She lived with her sick mother named Abigail Marsh in a crumbling old house. Rosemary was super tall and had a condition that made her look like a mummy. The townspeople feared her. One day her mother's health took a turn for the worse, and she passed out. Rosemary quickly called the local doctor, Dr. Rick O'Shea, crying and making weird noises as she couldn't talk. The doctor happened to know them and managed to get to the house quickly, but by the time he was there, Rosemary's mother was already gone. Dr. O'Shea tried everything to revive her, but it was too late. He broke the news to Rosemary, but she refused to believe him. In her eyes, the doctor had failed her. Worse, she believed he was the reason for her passing. As the doctor tried to leave, she cornered him. She didn't use words, just raw, terrifying strength. The townspeople would later find his car abandoned outside, but the doctor was never seen again. Days later, the people of the area noticed something strange. Rosemary was seen wandering the streets wearing the doctor's white coat. She walked with a creepy smile into the forest, never to be seen again.
You were born last Thursday. This shows all the conspiracy theories in the world, from the most well-known to the darkest of the dark. As I'm sure you know by now, in this series we're going from the top to the bottom. Let's go. This is weird. Just a quick warning, this is flipping weird and will creep you the hell out. The theory is called Last Thursdayism. This theory suggests that the universe could have been created pretty recently, like last week, but it was created with the physical appearance of it being billions and billions of years old. Anything that could counter this theory, like your memories, recordings, past events, whatever it may be. That just popped into existence to make the universe seem older than it actually is. That said, there's no actual way to prove this, so all you can be sure about is the exact moment you're living in right now. A crazy theory, and I'm not sure what I think of it, but if you deep it, it's creepy. See you in the next one.
Because everyone's talking about the possible serial killer in Grand Junction, Colorado, let me tell you about one of their most infamous murder cases. The Blaggs were a picture-perfect family of born-again Christians until November 13th, 2001, when Michael came home to a pool of blood, his wife Jennifer and 6-year-old daughter Abby missing. The back door was left open, Jennifer's purse was spilled out on the floor, and her jewelry was missing. But when authorities looked at the crime scene, something was off. If a stranger had broken into their home, why would they leave items of value behind, like guns and cash? And why would they move the bodies in Jennifer's van and return it to the family's garage? In May the following year, investigators start digging through the Mesa County landfill, and after removing 3,000 tons of trash, they find the mummified remains of Jennifer Blagg, wrapped in a tent and surrounded by trash from her husband's workplace. Michael was convicted for only his wife's murder in 2004, but 13 years later he got a second shot at freedom. It turns out a juror lied on her questionnaire about being a victim of DV. In 2018 he got the same result, life in prison without the possibility of parole. And despite being convicted twice, he refuses to reveal the location of his 6-year-old daughter Abby. It's believed her remains are still deep in the Mesa County landfill.
Crazy things happening in the world right now. A man is trying to get his priceless collection of 6,000 bricks into a museum. A man was arrested after stealing almost $400,000 worth of cheddar cheese in London. The US Copyright Office has now made it so McDonald's has to legally fix their ice cream machines in an appropriate time. American Airlines is testing technology that audibly shames you if you try to cut in line. A Wisconsin pizzeria has apologized after customers accidentally got high because their pizza had THC in it. A man who went to the doctor complaining of indigestion had a live cockroach in his intestines. An employee's homemade meal at a Maryland seafood distributor caused mass food poisoning. Pizza Hut is offering to print resumes on boxes and deliver them to potential employers. An Ohio man was forced to cancel his credit card in order to escape his gym membership fees. Endangered bees are what's stopping Meta's plan for a nuclear-powered AI data center.
Shocking ways people have escaped North Korea. Oh Chung-sung was actually a man who was working in the military in North Korea. He decided to drive the car up the MDL, and that's the line that separates North Korea from South Korea. There's thousands of armed guards defending it. He crashed his car and then sprinted to the other side where he was dodging bullets left and right. After being shot 5 times, he managed to find shelter on the other side in South Korea. He was then rescued by South Korean soldiers, taken by a helicopter to the hospital where he later survived.
This 10-year-old would beat a 90-year-old to death because she yelled at him. On October 11th of 2014, 10-year-old Tristan Carilla visited his grandfather Anthony Verbitsky in his home in Tyler Hill, Pennsylvania. Tyler planned to spend the day with his grandfather while his mother was at work. His grandfather Anthony was not the only one living in that home. He also took care of a 90-year-old woman named Helen Novick. Just after 10 a.m., Tristan had entered Helen's room without permission to ask her a question, and because of that, she scolded him. Tristan was not happy with this, so he grabbed a wooden cane and held it against her neck for several minutes, then punched her in the throat 5 times and as well as the stomach. This caused swelling and hemorrhaging to her throat, which caused her to die. At around 10:30 a.m., Tristan told his grandfather that he could see blood coming out of Helen's mouth. Anthony checked on Helen, but he couldn't find any blood. She just seemed scared and her breathing was labored. Anthony asked if she was okay and if she wanted to go to the hospital, but she said that she was fine and she didn't need to go to the hospital. Tristan denied hurting Helen, but his grandfather told him to stay in the other room away from her. Around 11 a.m., Anthony went to go check on Helen, but she was unresponsive. Tristan ended up admitting to him that he had punched her and placed the cane around her neck, so he called 911 to report her death and she was transported to the county morgue. At 3:20 p.m., Tristan's mother, Martha, had walked into the police station to tell them that her son had unalived Helen. She and Tristan spoke to a state trooper, and she told him that her son had ADHD and ODD and had violent behavioral problems. Tristan had admitted to that state trooper that he did unalive Helen, but he didn't mean to, he just wanted to hurt her. On October 13th, Helen's autopsy results came back and revealed that her cause of death was blunt force trauma and the manner of death was homicide. The very next day, police charged Tristan as an adult with murder. The case was later transferred to a juvenile court, and he has to stay in a juvenile facility until his 21st birthday.
Have you ever wondered why people don't sink while running on this strange liquid? Some might say it's a magic trick or it's not a liquid. Well, they are wrong. You can see in this viral video a man punching this liquid, and the harder he hits it, the more solid it becomes. But when he puts his hand in smoothly, his hand goes right in. This substance is called a non-Newtonian fluid, and it behaves quite differently from other liquids. This video even shows boys effortlessly flipping and walking on a pool filled with this liquid without sinking, and the boy who is not applying pressure sinks right in. You see, non-Newtonian fluids are unique liquids that do not follow Newton's law. Unlike typical liquids, when you apply pressure or force, their tiny particles stick together tightly, turning almost solid. This reaction temporarily transforms the fluid into a solid state.
I told my mom something that she never heard before. Before Adam was created, Earth didn't belong to us. Earth wasn't our planet. It wasn't our world. It was the jinns' world. But jinns lived amongst other beings called al-bin wal-hin wal-min wal-khin. There are multiple species of their kind, but they're mostly known for al-bin wal-min. But they are not human, neither are they jinns. And they have been created before humans, and all of them are now extinct because the jinns have attacked them. They went to war. It was the worst war on this planet. When Allah was creating Adam, before he blew life into him, the angels went and they're like, "Oh Allah, are you going to create another one of them that are going to shed blood again?" So what do they mean by that? We don't know.
Okay, breaking news. It has just been announced that for the first time in 15 months, Israel and Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire to halt the fighting in Gaza. They have agreed to the release of the 33 Israeli hostages in exchange for the freeing of around 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, including 250 serving life sentences. Now, the exact details of the agreement haven't yet fully been released, but reports say that it's expected that the deal will see Israeli military withdraw within 700 meters of inside Gaza. It's expected to allow Palestinian civilians to return to northern Gaza, and for there to be a massive influx of humanitarian aid into the strip, like medical treatment, food, clean water, shelter, and the list goes on. But of course, as more is released, I'll make an update.